The cheap debt by the growth playbook that drove a decade of multi-location roll-ups is closing. The clearest read this quarter came from the most studied roll-up category, dental services operators, where lenders are now scrutinizing the platforms that prioritized acquisition velocity over everything else. The shift the operators named directly, the pivot from buying growth to building quality. Here is the thesis, and it holds across every roll-up vertical, not just dental. When you can no longer buy the next turn of growth with cheap leverage, the only return left is the one you build inside the businesses you already own. That return has a name the entire category uses and almost nobody operationalizes: integration. The only question that matters is whether integration is a slide in the value creation deck or an operating capability that actually runs. And integration is weakest exactly where the thesis depends on it. The reason is structural. Every portfolio company runs its own go-to-market and operations stack, assembled by whoever was there before the acquisition. Across 10 or 20 businesses, that is a dozen fragmented stacks, none of them speaking to each other, each one rebought and restaffed at every add-on. An operator named the tax this creates: the Franken-stack tax. Paying people just to move spreadsheets around between tools that do not connect. Multiply that across a portfolio, and it is the line item that quietly eats the integration thesis. The value creation team treats integration as a one-time systems project, runs it once per acquisition, and never builds the capability that would let the next add-on plug in instead of rebuild. The gap between the thesis, one integrated operator, and the reality, a dozen fragmented stacks, is where the modelled return goes to die, and AI has made it worse. Ungoverned chat windows and outbound tools now run inside every portco, none aware of the others. In a regulated roll-up, the exposure is sharper. A multi-clinic healthcare platform carries HIPAA on every patient touch. Ungoverned AI reaching patient or customer data across the portfolio is not an efficiency problem. It is a breach waiting for a diligence team to find, and priced into the next round or the exit. Which is where the most important idea in this lands. The audit trail stops being a compliance checkbox and becomes a deal artifact. The same replayable record that defends a single clinic's marketing to its compliance officer is the evidence the diligence team needs to underwrite the whole platform at exit. A regulated roll-up that can show governed, evidenced operations across every location is underwritable in a way that a portfolio of ungoverned AI is not. So here is the flip. The whole video turns on. The missing capability is a single managed operating layer, deterministic recipes, named approver gates on anything that leaves a business, a replayable audit trail across every company, and a portfolio-level control tower over every AI action in every portco. Deployed once. Templated across the holdings. That is the difference between integration as a recurring project the fund pays for at each acquisition and integration as a capability the fund owns. The first is a cost. The second is the moat. And owning that capability is a value creation lever, not a cost line. In 3 specific ways. 1. Earnings quality. A business whose marketing and operations run on documented recipes with a replayable audit trail is worth more to the next buyer than one that runs on tribal knowledge and a Franken-stack, because the next buyer can actually underwrite it. Governed operations are transferable operations. 2. Integration speed. When the operating system already exists, a new add-on plugs into it instead of rebuilding from scratch. Time to integration drops. And that is the variable the roll-up model is most sensitive to, the moment acquisition velocity slows. 3. Risk reduction. Portfolio-wide governance converts ungoverned AI sprawl from an unpriced liability into a controlled, evidenced capability. The audit trail that defends each business to its finance team is the same artifact that defends the portfolio to the fund's investors and to the diligence team at exit. And it does not arrive as a portfolio-wide transformation program. It lands one business at a time. Stand up the governed operating layer at a single portco against one bleeding outcome. Then template it. The recipes, the approver gates, the audit structure, the governance configuration become the repeatable playbook. The value creation team rolls into the next portco and the next. The control tower that started as one company's audit trail becomes the portfolios. The bias note, so you have it. I run GGO. And that managed operating layer is what we build. One business first, templated across the holdings. An operating capability the fund owns, not an integration project it refunds at every acquisition. When acquisition velocity stops working, integration is the only value creation lever left. And integration is an operating capability, not a transaction. The funds that compound returns through the maturing roll-up era will be the ones whose portfolios run on a governed operating system, with the audit trail to prove it at exit. The deploy mechanic and the pricing are in the operating partner one-pager, linked below. If you want it, plus the portfolio read, message me the word MOAT on LinkedIn. I'm Cheyenne Ming. Thanks for watching.